Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me today is Bryan Freeman. He's the executive chairman at the Real Good Food Company. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is RGF on NASDAQ, and the Real Good Food Company will be doing a virtual presentation for our upcoming conference, the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver, happening September 6th and 7th, 2023. To hear Bryan's presentation taking place on Wednesday, September 6th, please register at planetmicrocapshowcase.com. And with that, Bryan, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Hey, Robert, thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So, we actually did a interview last year for my podcast, the Due Diligence series. We published that on November 22nd, 2022. Before we get into the update and everything that's been going on in the company since then, can you give us that quick overview of the Real Good Food Company, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, sure. We're a young, better for you frozen food business that manufactures products that are high in protein, low in carbohydrate and sugar, and have clean ingredient decks. And so we're really servicing a unmet consumer need of, everyday products that Robert, you and I want to eat, whether it's Mexican food or whatever, but we're removing the carbohydrates and replacing it with protein. And so long as we can make delicious food like that, we know that we'll have a very high growth business.
Very good. All right, like I said, last time we did an interview together, November 22nd, 2022. Let's get that full update. And what would you say are some of the company's highlights from the last 10 months, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I'd say our products really took off. We launched about a year ago a new chicken nugget and chicken strip item, and we also launched some global entrees. And what's really surprising is when you go into the grocery store today and buy chicken nuggets, they've got a lot of carbohydrates and sugar and not a lot of protein. And so we were able to crack the code, deliver almost a 2x the protein and 1/3 of the carbohydrates. We got it on shelf about a year ago. The thing just took off. And so what you see happening today with the company is just really pretty significant growth. We got it to 200 million this year, and we think that the growth is going to continue. And it's in the third quarter, we see growth as high as 70%. So it's not that 200, we're kind of run rating probably at 240 to 250 in the back half of this year. So the products are working. I mean, people are loving them, and they're buying a lot of it. So from that standpoint, it's a lot of fun right now. We're having a good time over here.
Absolutely. So, the company just put out your Q2 2023, where you reported your earnings. I mean, and as you mentioned, Q3, that's when you're expecting some of you said it yourself, 70% growth. I mean, that's, for a $200 million company, like that's nothing to sniff at, right? So
Yep.
Can you give us some of in your opinion, some of the reasons that can drive the growth that you're expecting in the business?
It starts with the food and the brand promise. What do we stand for? And also, what we stand for is really hard to find in the categories that we participate in. I mean, if you walk the frozen food aisle, good luck finding products that actually have nutrition. Protein, not a lot of sugar, not a lot of carbohydrates, not grains, a lot of grains and all that. So, if you can check those three boxes and you can execute a delicious product, you're going to grow. I mean, these categories are huge. Frozen food in the U.S. is over $55 billion. So I've come from large frozen food companies. We think we can get to $500 million at some point. I would still say that's still kind of a small business. I mean, why can't we get even bigger at some point, given the size of the category and the need that people have for products that have the absence of sugar and carbohydrates? I mean, over a third of all U.S. adults are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. I bet most of the people watching this right now are probably trying to cut back on their carbohydrates. But good luck finding an enchilada that has only 4 grams of carbohydrates, right? And so that's what we can provide, and I think that's why we're winning right now.
Very good. And just to clarify, you mean 70% growth over net sales from Q2 2023, right? Like that's what
Yeah,
you're
I mean, to be really specific, what we
okay.
did on the second quarter call, and for those of you watching, I mean, if you're interested in us, I really think that listening to the Q2 call would be really helpful. And what we did on a one-time basis is we actually provided Q3 and Q4 guidance. And so what we said is hey, we see Q3 coming in at around 60 to 65 million in revenue on the quarter. And then Q4 will grow even bigger than that. And so, when you look at that kind of revenue through our matrix, you start seeing our plant utilization rates get to close to 80%. And that's when, adjusted gross margins start to come in line with actual gross margins. And so at that rate, we see a world where we're profitable and, hopefully cash flow positive.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time here, keeping a short form
You
here
bet.
today. So my final question for you, you kind of already alluded to, what, some of the value catalyst growth drivers for the rest of 2023, especially going into 2024. But you mentioned that you had, in your prior experience, you worked at some companies that also worked in frozen food. How does what you're doing right now with Real Good Foods compare to those experiences? And just how does it compare? Let's start there.
Sure. So I've done both, Robert. I've been in very small companies and grown them quickly, which is sort of what Real Good is. But I've also worked for large businesses. Before I joined Real Good Foods, I was at Advanced Pierre Foods. We took that company public and achieved, that business was doing about 1.7 billion in revenue. We took it public, achieved a market cap of 2.8 billion, and then Tyson bought us for 4.2 billion. What I would say is, you're more nimble at this size, and you're able to listen to customers and consumers and respond quicker. And that's really the magic. But yet, Real Good's at a scale now where we can actually execute at scale. So we have the manufacturing capabilities of a large, frozen food business, but yet we still are nimble and are able to be opportunistic and take advantage of, what the consumer wants. And so that's the fun part. These high growth businesses are a lot of fun. And the other last thing I'll tell you that also makes it cool is most of the people here at Real Good, we've all worked together in the past. That's a really cool experience, kind of bringing the band back together and growing the business quickly. And I think it helps with high growth environments to work with folks that you know and have worked with in the past. So it's a great combination. I hope that your viewers will take a look at us.
Very good. All right. Well, Bryan, with that, where can our audience go and find more information on the Real Good Food Company?
Obviously our website, realgoodfoods.com, but also check us out on Instagram. We have one of the largest followings of all food companies in America. Check us out.
Very good. Bryan, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. I look forward to our next update.
Hey, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.